let me just get this going. All right, so tell me when I'm ready. Ready? Okay, so let's start. So welcome again. This evening we're going to be doing a health seminar on homeostasis. Homeostasis is what we're looking at here. And so welcome, and we'll begin with a short prayer. Our Father, who art in heaven, I thank you again for the blessings of your word and for the blessings, dear Lord, of the health message and the health principles that you teach us. Pray that you may bless us as we look at these things and study together for Christ's sake. Amen. All right, so we're doing what we'll call a cold start to what I would say is a monthly health seminar. So every month in the afternoon on the second Sabbath here at New York United, we'll be doing a health seminar. And so we're going to start off the presentation by looking at this topic, homeostasis. Most naturally, the material will be on, the replay will be on New York United website and also on the New York United YouTube channel for you to watch if you miss something. So I'm going to try to get through a few information. This presentation is kind of different because it has a lot of Bible in it. I'm mixing Bible principles with health principles. So this is how we're going to start it. I didn't pray yet, right? Yeah. Okay, great, pray. So my brain is going 1,000. So homeostasis, so we go straight into it. Homeostasis is the property of the system, either open or closed, that regulates its internal environment and tends to maintain a stable, constant environment. So that's what homeostasis is this ability of the body to regulate all the different circumstances. If it's cold, you will probably shiver. Your body's shivering because the body's trying to stay warm. If you're hot, you'll sweat because the body's trying to cool down by evaporating water on the outside of your skin. And as the water goes out on the outside, it cools your system down. All of that is the process that the body is doing to maintain balance. And that's how balance is maintained. This time of year it's cold outside, and so as it's cold outside, it's part of the balance that's being tried to maintain. What balance is there trying to maintain is you have to keep the bacteria and the viruses low. Cold keep viruses and bacteria from growing. So it's part of the world's methodology of cooling itself or heating itself up. The heat is also good because heat brings life and other things. First text here I want to share with you, Proverbs chapter 3, verse 7 and 8. Be not wise in thine own eyes, fear the Lord, depart from evil. It shall be health to thy navel and marrow to thy bones. And so somebody said they have a problem with creating good blood. Well, what you want to do is depart from evil. You can believe that? That's so powerful. Now, I'm going to read some statements from the book Education. The book Education here, I'm going to read some statements from. So, as I say, I could do this just a straight health principle, but I want to show you that the principles of health can be found in the principles of biblical rich. Notice here, this is in the book Education, page 99, paragraph 1. Upon all creatures, things is seen, upon all created things is seen the impress of deity. Nature testify of God. The susceptible mind brought in contact with the miracle and mystery of the universe cannot but recognize the working of infinite power. Not by its own inherited energy, does the earth produce its bounties, and year by year continue its motion around the sun. An unseen hand guides the planets in their circuit of the heavens. A mysterious life pervades all nature, a life that sustains the unnumbered worlds throughout immensity. That lives in the insect atom, which floats in the summer breeze, that wings the flights of the swallow and feeds the young raven which cry, that brings the bud to blossom and the flower to fruit. So here it's saying, when you look at it, this is a mere fact that we're on a globe, on a sphere, floating by some unseen power, right? My hands getting cut off? Yes. Oh, my hands are good. So, floating by some unseen power, going thousands of miles
bending, I'm probably saying the wrong word, but bending back and forth. When it bends this way, it's summer north, it's winter down south. When it bends this way, it's winter down north and summer up south. So you look at this and it says, if you look at it, the mind is susceptible. So minds are blocked. You cannot see that there's a powerful force that's working to keep things in a certain way. So she says this is working. Now notice here continues, I'm just trying to get to where I'm going to because I'm doing homeostasis. The same power that opposes nature is working also in man. The same great laws that guide alike the star and the atom control human life. The law that governs the heart's action regulates the flow of current of life to the body, or the laws of the mighty intelligence that has jurisdiction of the soul. From him all life proceeds. Only in harmony with him can be found its true sphere of action. Notice there, only in harmony with him. Like I was saying this morning, there's so many people that they need a Sabbath. One of our biggest crises we have in our society is that people don't catch a break. And you people say that, I never catch a break. And I tell you, you can take a break. Amen. And that's going to keep that bar. Amen. You're just going to take a break by keeping the Sabbath day holy. Oh. Amen. Right? And just unwind. But many people, they keep going. They keep trying to solve their problems. You know what Sabbath tells me? If I didn't fix it on Friday, I'm not going to fix it again until next week. That's right. I leave it alone because I can't fix this problem. Amen. If I tell people all the time, there's somebody say, I'm having family problem. This is not what I want. I'm talking about help, but I'm just still appreciative. But I'm having family problems, right? And I need to stay home this Sabbath to try to fix the problem on Sabbath. Yeah. I was like, look, you had 6 days to fix it. That's right. And it's not fixed. Guess what happened? You're not going to fix it on Sabbath. What you need to do is go to church. Right? You need to go to church. Yeah, that's why you need to go to church. Because you don't need to hear a word. Amen. There's sometimes you just need to leave your problems alone. In other words, you see that, right? Thanks very much. So it's okay. Yeah, thanks. Alright, so we're just in the light. So notice here, from him all life proceeds. I want to see it too. Only in harmony with him can be found its true sphere of action. For all the subjects of his creation, the condition is the same. A life sustained by receiving the life of God, a life exercised in harmony with the Creator's will. To transgress his law, physical, mental, moral, is to place oneself out of harmony with the universe, to introduce discord, anarchy, and ruin. Alright, so when you think about that, the moment you introduce something inside of your body or nature that is not supposed to be there, you introduce anarchy, chaos, and ruin. You think about one of the biggest research you're doing now is on the gut flora. Yeah. That if you take certain poisons into your system, you will damage the small little bacteria in your stomach, in your digestive tract, I should say. And as these bacteria are damaged, even on your skin, it will introduce anarchy, chaos, and ruin. And what it is why probiotics, prebiotics are becoming such a big seller. Because over the years, we were using antibiotics and all these things, and I'm thinking that the damage that we're doing to our stomach, to our gut, was going to hurt us. Because how the plant world works, as an example, in the soil there's inorganic matter that are nutrients, trace minerals, other different type of nutrients that the plants need. The plant is planted in the soil, but the plant does not directly pull all its nutrients from the soil. Some of the nutrients coming into the plant, or most of the nutrients coming into the plant, is coming as bacterial waste. So the bacteria that is natural in the soil takes the inorganic matter or nutrients from the soil, break it down, convert it to organic nutrients that feed the plants. So, like for example, they give, and you'll probably see this, is that when you ever know the smell of dirt, yeah. That when rain falls, yeah. or when you dig up the soil, what you're smelling is not dirt, because if you smell dirt in its natural form, it doesn't smell like that. What you smell is the dirt smell mixed with bacteria. And that's what that scent is. And so imagine now, you have a plant, you plant it, but you plant it in a soil that is being poisoned by chemicals, that all the bacteria killed. That plant could still grow by fake fertilizers, synthetic fertilizers. But what that plant does to you is almost nothing, if not poison. This is why a good example of this, and in the future I'll do this for a health seminar. I'll take a regular avocado, cut it, put it here, organic avocado, and a day later that organic avocado could still stay lime green. The regular pesticide avocado will go black within minutes or hours. Wow. Just black. Why? Because the oxidation spoiling process is so fast, because yes, it's grown in soil, but it's dead denatured soil is grown by chemicals. It looks like an avocado, but it is spoiling and rotting. You eat it, you put it in your body, it's going to spoil and rot inside of your body real fast. Because it's not rotting in your eyes. It has no preservative to your body. It's going to introduce into your body anarchy, chaos, and ruin. And so it is, anything you throw off one thing, it affects another thing. This is why in the future when I do like the seminar on anti-aging, will be quite interesting, because basically the avocado that is rotting will not add to your body life. And it will not have any preservative in it. The avocado that is preserved and a daily that still stay lime green, its nutrients is going to add preservative to you, and you're going to see it on the skin, in the brain function, in your neurological function, because it has healing properties in it. That's why it's able to withstand oxygen and still not decay. Its rate of decay is very slow. So that's why it's important. So we don't want to transgress. So notice here it's transgressing the physical, the mental, and the moral law. Have you ever been stressed and all you start having a headache? The stress is not something that can be touched. Because people say, oh, if I can't touch it, I can't believe it. If I can't see it, I can't believe it. But you can feel stress. Because it's mental stress, because it's a problem. And that problem, as you deal with it, it's introduced because you can't fix it. And one of the interesting things I have noticed, since I've done a lot, is this idea with the NA or the AA. They have this principle that's been around for about 100 years. They say, you have to come to recognize in your life, I'm paraphrasing here, that there's things that you can't change.
That's right.
And you have to accept that in your life.
That's right.
And focus on the things you can change.
Amen.
But it's something that people are going to blow their brains over something that they can't change. And they're worried about it and stressing about it, but you can't change it.
That's right.
You just have to ask them that this is the, but then the things you can change, they don't address. So that is introducing chaos and anarchy, and it will cause problems. So human homeostasis refers to the body's ability to physiologically regulate its inner environment to ensure stability in response to fluctuations in the outside environment and weather. Say that again? Oh yeah, it's going to break it down in a second. So the liver, and the quality of these slides is going to not break it down, but it's going to break it down. The liver, the kidney, the brain, the hypothalamus, the autonomic nervous system, the endocrine system, helps maintain homeostasis. I'm going to break this down as we move forward. The liver is responsible for metabolizing toxic substance and maintaining carbohydrate and metabolism, right? So notice a lot of people have gluten intolerance. Yeah. Gluten is a carb. Carb is vitamin C and the full force function of the liver is needed when you're breaking down carbs. Now the carb that we partake of, that's called wheat. The gluten in it is the protein in it. It's that sticky protein. The gluten in it, probably about 100 years ago or so, that gluten was 3 times less difficult to break down. But because they've hybridized the wheat, the gluten is very harder and more sticky, more gelatinous or glutinous. You can pull it and it's stretch. Because people like the bread where it'll fall apart. But breads back in the past would fall apart or more crumbly. But they've hybridized it that is 3 times more powerful. But now that it's 3 times more powerful, it's going to give the liver 3 times more the work to metabolize that and break that thing down. See the problem there? So you just deal with something that is introducing something that God never made the body to break down. And that's introduced anarchic chaos and whatever. And again, what if I have a problem with my liver is not that strong? I might not be able to break it down. But if I have some type of disease that my liver is not strong, carbs is going to be a big headache for me. And I probably have to cut back on my carbs or eat carbs that are easier to break down like rice. So again, this is the system way of fluctuating. And I'll deal with that fluctuation that is there. Say you have, as I mentioned before, you know the body, say you eat something that is too much bacteria, right? And it starts causing a stomach virus. What is it your body's going to do? Your body's going to start vomiting. That's the system way of maintaining homeostasis, because you've introduced anarchy. The body's going to try to now get rid of that anarchy through vomiting or diarrhea. So homeostasis is the body trying to maintain itself. So what are you supposed to do? What you're supposed to do in that natural situation is to help the body to vomit, or help the body to go and diarrhea more. But you should stop the process. You should just try to maintain the process. In other words, don't make it get out of control. Like you can start vomiting out of control. Like if a person has epileptic fit, it's something going wrong in the brain. They're probably having say for instance, sometimes a child especially could have an epileptic fit from getting temperatures above, I think 103, 104, start going too high. So the doctor is able to try to bring the temperature down, because if it keeps going, the child, the body could start firing so fast that the child is starting going into a fit. So the aim is to deal with this system, because all of that is doing is the body trying to maintain balance. And it's starting to do other things to maintain balance. Now what's happening? The person eats some food, the bacteria start to grow, multiply, probably within 4 hours the person starts to feel pain. The body now says, uh-oh, there's a problem, we need to get rid of this food. So the body now starts fever, vomiting, even headache, whatever, because the temperature is going to start rising. The body is raising the temperature because the body needs to cook the virus, need to burn it off. So, but the body does not try to kill the person by making it go to 105, 106, because the brain starts to get damaged, because the brain is very delicate. So the aim now is, what do I do? Well, number one, I need to get something in that stomach to help the body get rid of whatever is in there, because it can't get out. Also, the viruses, remember, all bacteria and viruses, they throw off toxins. Some of the toxins, especially bacteria, they are food. Like B12 is a vitamin, but B12 comes from bacteria in our gut. If we damage the flora with our B12, but other bacteria, whatever their food they're throwing off, or whatever waste they're throwing off, is not good to us. It's poisonous. And that's what creates the pain in our stomach, because they're poisonous. So you got to figure out now, the body's trying to save you, you got to save yourself. So now I will just quickly go through what I would do, and I do. Number one, I'm going to try to induce vomiting. This is not good for a child, but for me. I'm going to try to take something like an herb called lobelia. Lobelia is an herb that will induce vomiting or stop vomiting. Too much of it will induce vomiting, small amount will stop vomiting. I don't want to stop the vomiting, I want to induce the vomiting. I want to take things that will kill parasites, because of bacteria. So I want to take things like wormwood. I want to take ginger. I want to start drinking some ginger tea. I want to take something that's going to absorb the toxin. I want to take some charcoal or some bentonite clay in my stomach, because I want to suck something to absorb the poison that the bacteria are throwing out. And I always say, the moment you get sick, the first thing I do, as a matter of fact, I should say, the first thing I do is I go for laxative. Number one, start drinking laxative, because what I want to do is I want to push it this way, and the vomiting will pull it the other way. I want to speed the process up, because the body's trying to save me by trying to balance out, because the body says something is wrong, so I want to help the body along. So the first thing, if I'm having a cold, and I explain it a little bit, hopefully, if I remember, I always go for laxative. So let's say I have a cold, why laxative? Because I want to dump everything in my colon. I want to empty my colon. First thing, I don't even think about it anymore. The moment I feel like a little thing here, somebody said, well, you feel something here, why do you go for down here? Because the body's trying to kick out whatever poison inside, and it'll go for the skin, it'll go for the lungs, so it make you cough it out, and it'll go for the bowel, and for the urination. So you want to eliminate that way. So the same thing, you eat something bad, first thing, I want to push it out. Then I want to get it back out. And that's the process. That's the way the body works. So the moment we understand is the fever is not the problem, what you need to do then is start to drink. Because if you have a fever is like a fire burning inside. So what do you do when fire starts to burn? You throw water, right? So the person, oh, I'm having a fever, oh, they need water. So why do you need water? I need to wrap up. No, you need to wrap up. You need to wrap up with water. You need to maintain the fever, keep the head cool. So probably wrap the head in a cold water in a towel. Now soak in where it will just cool down to chill the brain. As long as the brain don't get hot, the person can go even 100 and whatever, 8 degrees and not getting damaged. The brain has to be protected. The body has to be warm. And just keep drinking. Fluid. Because what happens, you want to flush. That's how simple it works. I'll talk a little more as I go on. The kidney is responsible for regulating the body's water level, reabsorption of substances into the blood, maintenance of salt, iron level in the blood, regulate the body's pH, so how alkaline or acidic your body is. Remember, cancer, no disease can survive in an alkaline or neutral body, but they can survive in a very acid body. So the kidney is important in that, and excretion of urea and other waste. So what you want to do with homeostasis is make sure 6 to 6.5 cups of water daily or fluid daily. That could be some of that could be added by some fruits and stuff like that, but most of that will be just pure water. I'll talk more about that. Principle again from the Bible, Isaiah 58 verse 7 and 8. Isaiah 58 verse 7 and 8. It is not to deal thy bread to the hunger, and thou bring the poor that are cast out of thy house, when thou seest the naked, that thou cover him, and thou hidest not thyself from thine own flesh. Then shall thy light break forth as the morning, and thy health shall spring forth speedily, and thy righteousness shall go before thee. The glory of the Lord shall be thy reward. So where we look at health, we are looking at the practical outlay of what God has blessed us with. Just as how we give it to somebody else, we need to give it to ourselves. It's just basically you're trying to deal with whatever extremes there is. Because remember, all the body's doing is just dealing with extremes to bring the balance. Extreme to bring the balance. And inability to maintain homeostasis may lead to death or disease. And I'll explain more in a second. A condition known as homeostatic imbalance. For instance, heart failure may occur when negative feedback mechanisms become overwhelmed and destructive positive feedback mechanisms take over. Other diseases which result from an homeostatic imbalance include diabetes, dehydration, hypoglycemia, hyperglycemia, gout, any disease caused by the presence of toxins in the bloodstream. So let's take those two statements there. When you look at heart problem, right? What you're looking at is a person could be stressed out and the system start to clamp up, or the person's under stress. So now you could take a blood pressure medication to keep the blood flowing. Well, what is really needed to get balance back? To get rid of the stress, right? And
release the stress.
The stress come down. Now, could the person still take either some drugs or some herbs? Yes. Yeah. But the issue is not going to fix the problem. Because the problem was not caused by the blood pressure, a lack of blood pressure medication, a lack of herbs. The problem is caused by this. So it's never that the person can't do anything in the interim, but the person has to start learning to deal with stress, right? And when you understand this, you understand like the blood vessels and the blood itself has to be at a certain level of viscosity. It has to be at a certain level of flow. So there's other things that the person will do to be able to keep the blood flowing and to be able to learn to de-stress and all that. More in a second. And it mentions here diabetes. Again, diabetes is a disease that, again, easily to deal with. It's an easy disease to deal with, but it's a terrible disease. Because a lot of this has to do with lack of balance. Known as dehydration. Is dehydration easy to fix? Just drink water. It's very straightforward. Just drink water. You drink water, you fix dehydration. So a person could be having a disease, and a simple disease is just a lack of Water. A lot of people have diseases, stomach diseases, taking antacids, all this type of stuff. I think antacids is one of the number one over-the-counter drug that is sold because people simply just don't drink water. Then if you drink water, there's some people don't drink no water. If it's not soda or tea or coffee or drink, no water. So the body does not have any water, and then there's all these other problems. Same thing with gout. What is gout? Gout is a beautiful example. Gout is there's no water coming in. But the body now don't have no water, so the body has to preserve the water it has. So the body now is starting to hold back. But as it's holding back, what it is that there's not enough flow, so that uric acid start to become crystalline and start to build up. And it's building up in the kidney, it's building up in the knee, in the toe, in the thumb, and now the person will have crystals, literal crystals. So what you can get the idea if you ever feel like sugar or salt, is that's what's building up inside of them. And how you notice is that if you've ever been to a male bathroom or toilet, and they use a urinal, and on the wall there's splash, and when you see it is yellow crystals, that yellow crystals can build up in a person's kidney. So they start having stones in the kidney. And when it's the kidney stones, they're saying it's literal stones. The stones being built because they're forming diamonds in there. And imagine urinating diamonds through a tube. Right? So this is the type of buildup that's happening. And the body starts to build up in the worst phase is in your foot. Now what makes those crystals? Okay.
What's homeostasis?
So homeostasis is the body's ability to maintain balance. So homeostasis is basically balance. Alright, that's the easiest way, just balance. So when you feel pain, alright, so that's a good question, I'll answer it again this way. When you feel pain, pain is your body indicating to you that something is out of balance. Right? Now I know pain could be that because you hit your toe. Or not that type of pain, so you feel a headache. Right? You're feeling a headache. Why is the headache? The headache is because something is out of balance. Say you feel tired and at your back right here, you start to feel, in that section of your back, you start to feel pain.
Yeah.
Right? That's because your kidney needs rest and water. That's why when you're tired, you feel pain. Because your kidney is one of the first things, because it's a filter, and it's filtered. So here's what the kidney is doing. So we go back to the kidney. What the kidney is doing is that the kidney processes, is the last place, I guess, our main place for processing of protein. It breaks down, the digestive process of breaking down protein creates purine and urea. Urea is that yellow substance that's protein. So it's the breaking down of protein. So whatever protein your body doesn't use, the body will break it down and dump it. So after a while, the body keeps breaking down the protein into urea primarily. That's our main focus. And you will urinate it out. Urinate out other stuff through the urine. But if you don't have enough fluid, that urea starts to crystallize and concentrate. Something similar to what happened with the male bathroom wall situation. And that concentration in the liver, in the kidney now, it started not only concentrated in the kidneys, but the body started to dump it other places. Store it. Store it in the foot, store it in the knee, store it in the thumb, and stuff like that. So when the person will feel that if they hold on to something, they feel like they hold on, and crystals are inside of them. And what the crystals inside of their kidney also. And it's built up because what it is, the body can't get enough fluid in to flush the kidneys out. So if you notice weightlifters that take out the protein supplements, protein powders, they always take a jug of water because they're trying to flush out the uric acid out of their kidneys, so their kidneys start to have major problems. So this is why, so the homeostasis now is the balance, where the body is trying to maintain that balance and that even keel, but the person is partaking of too much protein and the body doesn't have enough weight to get rid of it because the person is not drinking enough water. So what it is the person is doing now, the body now is trying to figure out how to stop the starvation or the lack of water, and also how to flush the system. And after a while, the negative, positive feedback that the body is trying to do start to become a problem because now the body's dying of thirst. So it's holding water, but what it's holding also is uric acid. So the body said, you know, I need to dump in other places. It started dumping. So the kidney can keep working. But doing that creates gout. And that's what happened. And so the gout now is created, the person is walking on crystals. And now they're in pain. So how do you fix that problem? How do you stop the pain from gout? Drink water. Cut back on the uric, the meat. Because meat has all this protein. And also meat has protein. I had a friend who had gout. And I said to him, what you need to do real quick is cut off all red meat. And cut off like goat. You know, literal goat. Goat meat is, you know, in Jamaica we normally eat goat meat. The male goat primarily because it smells rank. It smells like urine. And the more urine meat is the nicer it tastes. Ew. Because urine tastes good. And so what it is that, I'm not saying that I would eat it like that, I'm just saying in general. So like in Jamaica, that's what they always say, they like that, especially the male goat because it smells rank. Yeah. And you eat that, but the more of that you eat, the more it builds up uric acid in your kidney, and then it's harder to pass it because you're burning out, you're releasing uric acid, plus you're eating the uric acid of the meat. And then that's what happens. Yes.
Suppose the person don't eat meat and they still have this problem.
If they don't eat it, you see that they still have a high, you can still have a high protein diet with being a vegan, right? Because remember, pound for pound, there's more. Oh yeah, there's broccoli, there's some of the nightshades and stuff, like spinach and stuff.
So that gives you.
But I don't think most people are. If you already have a gout problem, you could eat spinach and it could throw you over. But most people, that's not their starting point. Right. So the thing is that remember your body's breaking down. So you're always going to have uric acid. Okay. The food we eat, because pound for pound, tofu has more protein than beef, pound for pound. So you could be eating a whole, you know, heap of, say, protein that's not animal protein, and still producing uric acid, a lot of uric acid. The other thing too is just always water. Just more water. Every day, if a person having that problem, other than taking herbs, they just drink minimum 8 cups of water, minimum 10 cups, and you'll flush the system out. Because usually it's just, you're diluting the crystals. Just like mixing sugar and water, you just mix it and dilute it. So the body has always to deal with that. So if a person is still having that problem, they're not drinking enough water. I would almost can't believe that person is drinking 8 glasses of water a day. Okay. You know, I'd have to see that. I remember somebody I knew had a gut problem, and I gave them some herbs to deal with it, to flush the kidney and the liver. Okay. And they told me that they started to have diarrhea, they started to just keep going to the bathroom to defecate. So I said, wow, that person is blocked off. So I said, you drink water? The person, no. So that's the problem. They need no herbs. They just need water. And the water would have either softened their stool and would have cleaned up the liver and the kidney. So their problem wasn't a lack of herb, the problem was just they need water. All right, a good example of this is regulating blood pressure. Blood vessels can sense resistance of blood flow against the wall when blood pressure increases. The blood vessel acts as a receptor and they relay this message to the brain. So in all systems, there is a receptor that receives some feedback. The brain sends it and the brain sends a message and says, do this. So this is what we're dealing with here. We're dealing with a positive and negative feedback. Right? So you get resistance. Say the person not drinking water. The blood gets thick. There's resistance. The find out, oh, the blood's not flowing properly. The brain senses it. The brain says, okay, do this. And then that now creates a problem. But that's just the body trying to balance things out. And in so doing, sometimes the body could be overwhelmed, and that's where disease comes. Disease is overwhelming the body's natural balancing mechanism. So the brain then sends a message to the heart and blood vessels, both of which are effectors. The heart rate will decrease as the blood vessels increase diameter or vasodilation. This change could cause the blood pressure to fall back to its normal range. The opposite would happen when blood pressure decreases and would cause vasoconstriction. So say this is a natural process. You're running, blood is flowing, right? The heart has to speed up faster, and the blood vessel has to kind of open up and get the blood flowing through, speed the process up. But imagine you're not running, and your heart is, and you're stressed out, right? Imagine that now. So that's not a natural process, but the body will do whatever it takes. And your adrenal kick in, your pituitary glands kick in, and you're in a fight or flight. That's what they call it, fight or flight, right?
Yep. Yep.
That's a good thing if you're in a bad situation, like a car is about to crash, and all of a sudden you feel your heart is going like this, right? That's how it's supposed to work. Imagine half an hour later, you're still doing like that. 2 hours later, your heart's still doing like that. Is that a problem?
Yes.
That's a big problem.
That's a big problem, because what it is now, your negative, positive feedback is not shutting off. But if there was no car accident, imagine now you just smoke some weed. I know you start thinking, there's always a car accident. You're like this all the time. Cars are attacking you. Heart is doing like this. What are you going to do to you? Rush you to the hospital. And a friend of mine say had that situation happen to him. He says he smoked some weed. He started to have that negative feedback. He started to have that panic attack. Things not going right. So he went to the hospital. I felt I'm dying, whatever. So the nurse says, come, go sit in that room over there. So he went and sit in the room. And he sit in the room waiting for them to attend to him.
For a long time.
For a long time. And as he's sitting there for a long time waiting for them to attend to him, then he realized, wait a minute. then he realized that's the room they send people who have the same result of marijuana to go sit until the effects of the marijuana wear off. And then when he said wear off, he said get up and walk right up. And so they realized that's what they do. They tell people, go sit in that room over here. And they go sit in the room because they're having a paranoid attack because they're like, what's going on, what's going on? He says he's panicking, he runs to the hospital. Then they tell him, go sit in that room. So he goes in the room. There's just some other people sitting in the room. Then they get up and leave. He realizes, wait a minute, why am I in the room? And then he gets up and leaves. Because he's having a panic attack. All he needed time for the substance to die down in the system. And then the body goes to that. But that effect is if the heart didn't start pumping faster, probably would have died or something. You see, the body is trying to maintain balance to deal with the effect. But sometimes a situation could happen where the heart starts to pump fast, and so we're in a hot room. We need to get out of that room and get fresh air. Or we stay in the room. You see the problem? And the heart keeps pumping fast, and now something bad is going to happen. And this is where that balance is. A few more examples of this. Iron is an essential element to the human body, human beings. The control of this necessary but potentially toxic substance is an important part of many aspects of human health and disease. Hematologists have been especially interested in the system of iron metabolism because iron is essential to red blood cells. In fact, most of human body iron is contained in red in cells hemoglobin, and iron deficiency is the most common cause of what? Anemia. So somebody has anemia, they need iron, right? So how do you get that iron?
Right.
When the body level of iron is too low, the hepcidin in the duodenal epithelium is decreased. This causes an increase in the ferroportin activities, stimulating iron uptake in the digestive system. And iron surplus will stimulate the reverse of this process. So the person needs the iron, the body says, pull more iron. Now here's where trouble comes in. So the person, the body signals to pull more iron. But the process of getting the iron is damaged because we have damaged the flora. What's going to happen? The body's going to keep calling and not going to receive. Say the body's calling and the person has a standard American diet. They get up every day and eat food that is denatured. And the body's saying, give me more. Right? Give me more iron. And the person is eating and the person not getting iron. So here's what could happen. The body keeps saying, I'm hungry. Get me more food. And the person keeps eating, but because the person is eating denatured food, they're not getting no nutrients, so the body keeps saying, give me more food. What's going to happen to the person?
Obese.
They're going to get obese. Because it's not a problem
being hungry.
Being hungry, the problem is the deficiency. The person either have damage to the flora or the food doesn't have the nutrients it needs, so the body keeps saying, feed me more. This is why over the years, and I'll talk about it in a second, people will say, they say have calcium deficiency. And it's not calcium deficiency they have, it's good food deficiency. So the body keeps saying, give me more. So you see a person could be 500 pounds, but they have their bone density level is low. So you say, how is that possible? If they're so fat, they're supposed to have all the calcium they need, but the problem is they're having food, but it's not having the right food with the right nutrients. And that's why they're deficient. So homeostasis can be dangerous if the body is trying to balance itself and can't get the food it needs. Does that make sense? Because the body keeps saying, give me more. Because I'm imbalanced, I need some balance, and I have enough, whatever. Another good example of this is when a woman is pregnant, the body always protects the offspring, or try to.
Right.
So the body, so I remember reading a book where they was saying that she knew somebody that was deficient, I can't remember what they were deficient in, but they were deficient in something, and she would tell her husband, go to the truck stop and scrape some of the mud off the flaps of the truck and give it to me. And she was, the husband would go to the truck stop, scrape the mud off, and she would eat the mud. And somehow that was giving her nutrients that she needed. Other people will crave like chocolate and other things like that, because what it is in chocolate, I can't remember what the nutrients is high in. But there's a nutrients is high in, and what the body is saying, give me that nutrient. So that's why people have craving when they're pregnant. Because the brain is saying, if you don't give me copper, I'm going to die. Or this child's going to get damaged, give me copper. And the person will say, what do I eat with copper? Unbeknownst to them. All of a sudden the brain will say, I know where copper from. And the brain will, if you want to call it, instinctually send a message saying, give me this food. The person eat the food and they feel satisfied. They're like, yes. And what it is that the brain takes over and independent. So that's why when I read a statement in the beginning where Andrew said this, if the person is susceptible, they realize there's things that are happening that are beyond our control. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
There's things that are happening beyond our control that the brain was never taught, so to speak. Yeah. Because somebody says, oh yeah, you have to teach intelligence. No. A baby doesn't learn intelligence, they know to smile. A baby comes out and they start crying. Where is milk? Where is milk? I want milk. Right? The baby, where does the baby know that? How does the baby come out of the womb and know immediately to stop? Where does that come from? To latch on. It was programmed inside of that baby before the baby came out. Somebody goes, oh no, but it has to be, there's no intelligence there in the sense of man gave it intelligence. That's intelligence that God programmed in the baby. The baby knows to breathe. Where does the baby learn to breathe? You know, you ever think about the eye, and I'll talk about this in the future, the eye focus without thought. You don't think and focus. You just focus. See? My eye just automatically pull back. Where did I learn that skill from? You didn't learn it. You know, the reflex to swallow. That is given inside the baby. That's a pre-program. The baby's birth programming to take breast milk. The other thing I'll say real quickly about the system, just some tidbits here, that the first sensory gland that is developed in our mouth and our tongue is sweet. Guess what the baby go for first? Sweet. Because the breast milk is sweet. I never tasted it. That's what I read in books. Yeah, well, I did when I was a child, but not as an adult. I'm just saying as an adult, I don't know. I never tasted breast milk since I've been this age. But the breast milk is sweet. So think about it. The child comes out, and they want to tell us that it's not a powerful hand that created it, that the first taste bud is sweet. And where does sweet locate in the tongue? The tip of the tongue. So the tip of the tongue, the baby gets that breast milk, and the baby like, this is mine. Straight out of the womb. This is what I want. This is perfect. That's what I was crying for. How the baby know that's what he was crying for? God had to program all of that in there before the baby comes out. So that the baby take that in. And so it's the same thing with homeostasis. If the baby not getting what they need, it's going to be a problem. And so if you look at it, there's so many different things in life, too much information. When the body levels of iron are too low, then epsilon in the duodenal epithelium is decreased. This causes an increase in I read that. Blood glucose is another example, like the issue with diabetes and other issue. Is regulated with two hormones, insulin and glucagon, both released from the pancreas. When blood sugar levels become too high, insulin is released from the pancreas. Glucose or sugar is stored in the body cell as glycogen, lowering the blood sugar level. So the body says, I'll take some and store some. That's right? I'm going to take some and store some because you're eating too much cake. But if you keep eating too much cake, what happened? There's a certain point where the body says, I'm going to store more. But if you store more, what happened? The person started to get too much fat. But if the person has too much fat, the cell becomes fat. And the cells become fat, the fat gunk up the cell and make it that the sugars can't get inside the cell. So the cell starts saying, I want more sugar. That's what the person's going to do. Get more sugar. But if they eat more sugar, the body's going to convert that sugar to glucagon, and it's going to make the person even fatter. So the person say, I'm not, this is not working, man. Give me more sugar. Right? So that's the body trying to balance out. But in that balancing out, we as intelligent beings got to do what? Work with the body. I say, oh, I see what the body's doing. It's calling for more sugar, but I knew I eat more sugar. So what's going on? What I need to do is try to cut the sugar. But this person say, if I cut the sugar, my body's going to call for more sugar. So guess what I have to do? The only way now to fix that is to get on the treadmill. You got to burn. You got to help the body burn, because the body's trying. The next part I'm going to read here. Let's just read the next part. On the other hand, when the blood sugar level becomes low, glycagon, or glucagon, if I pronounce it right, is released. It promotes the release of glycogen, converting back into glucose. This increases blood sugar levels. If the pancreas is for any reason unable to produce enough of these two hormones, diabetes results. So, what do? I could take some herbs, that will help. I could take some insulin, that could help. But ultimately, what I have to do? I'm going to have to say, I'm going to burn it from my body myself. I'm going to cut back my eating. I'm going to feed my body food, but I'm going to cut back fat and sugar. And if I do this, then now I start to bring, I'm going to help the body to come into balance. Because again, we're not cows and goats, we're intelligent beings. Quick an example is when blood calcium is a good example, right? When blood calcium becomes too low, calcium sensing receptors in the parathyroid glands become activated. This results in the release of parathyroid hormone, which acts to increase blood calcium. So calcium gets low, parathyroid gets going, it releases hormones and say, give me more calcium, because I don't have enough calcium to feed the body. Where's it going to get the calcium from?
It's heat in your bones.
So it's going to get it leached from the body. So that's now the body trying to balance, but by balancing the body, it's going to damage my bones. Problem? So it's relieved from the bones, increasing the activity of bone degrading cells called osteoclasts. This hormone also causes calcium to be reabsorbed from urine and the GI tract. So there's a lot that can be said here, but here's the issue. For years, and I remember scenes when I was growing up, they would say, drink your milk because milk has calcium. Right. But as you drink your milk, what it is, the milk, the calcium in milk is not going to be broken down in our bodies regularly. So that calcium, when it gets into our stomach, has to be, number one, has to be alkalized because it's very acidic. And so the body says, how you alkalize it? By bringing in calcium. So you're bringing in calcium from the teeth and the bones. So the bones now start to become brittle and not as dense, and they become more in danger. So this is why if you look now at the countries that have the most bone density problems are also the countries that have the most infertility problems. And these are the countries that are milk-taking countries, the primarily Scandinavian countries. Instead of America, the places that have the most bone density problem are areas that the Scandinavians settled. South Dakota, North Dakota, those areas, because they drink a lot of milk. More milk is the more bone density problem. That's why I say you could have a person, think about a person that eats pizza, cheese, all these things. They're 400 pounds, right? And they have bone density problem. Why? because all that cow milk can't be broken down by the body because cow has how many chambers? 4. Right? How many chambers we have? 1. So our bodies can't break down cow milk. The protein is too powerful. And so our body has to declare war to break it down. That war damages our bone. So the actual reality of life is that the cow's milk is more dangerous for the human than it is for the cow. Because the cow, again, it can break down grass. Think about it. The thing has died in the track to break down grass. If you eat grass, you get sick. That's just the reality of life. Your body can't break that down. It's too powerful for the body, too hard. So the cause.
Why they drink that stuff? What's that green thing?
Like I give you an example. It's been tested and proven nationally that 85% of black Americans are all lactose intolerant. 85%. So if you have 10 black Americans, 8 of them are lactose intolerant. Why? Because blacks came from Africa and only one tribe in Africa is known to drink milk, and that's the Maasai tribe. And they don't drink it on a daily basis. They drink it as like ceremonies and stuff like that. So the whole, if you look at the whole continent of America, black people don't drink milk, so the body never have the, whatever that, to break it down in the stomach. So that's why blacks always have asthma and other type of problem because they get it from the milk. Because they don't eat pizza, but nobody can digest it. It's just diarrhea and other problems.
What's that stuff they call green thing?
Oh, you mean the wheatgrass?
Oh, that's wheatgrass? What is wheatgrass?
Wheatgrass is basically like micronite. They take basically powder wheat because wheat can be, the cells to get the nutrients out of wheat is so tough. If you ever feel wheat is like a grass, grass is tough.
Right.
So the only way to partake of grass would be to make it into a fine powder. Other than that, you can't put grass in your system and break it down. The body won't be able to, the acids and stuff in the system won't be able to, you can't chew it.
It'll come out whole.
So it will come out whole, but that whole is scraping on the
Like
tender corn and stuff like that. But it's worse than corn because it's scraping on the intestine and damaging it. So we're not made to eat grass. Cows eat grass and goats and stuff like that. Sheep. So, but it's the same thing. Our bodies can't break down cow milk. Cow milk is too tough. It's made for calves. Our bodies can't break it down. The protein is much tougher. And that's why we have a problem with wheat. But people say, well, people been eating wheat for thousands of years, but the wheat we eat now is not the same wheat they were eating then. Their wheat was more tender. Our wheat is hybridized to make it more stretchy, pulley, whatever you call it. So that's the problem there. So that's where they have it. So notice again, when we talk about balance, the balance is always, the body is trying to balance. So when we look at disease, we don't look at the way the classic system look at it. We look at it that we are trying to help the body. And as the next few months roll around, and I cover different topics, all we're trying to do is understand how the body works. And then how to fix it. Because you could have and I've seen this over and over again, you could have a person has a health problem, and they could try drugs, herbs, all kind of stuff, and it's not working. But the floor is just damaged. They need to fix that. Or they need to change the diet. Eat more delicate food. You get nutrients, eat more organic food, drink more water. It can be very simple. And they're trying all kind of stuff that's not working. They need to stop something, stop alcohol. It can be just so simple. Sometimes people are vital force, but the alcohol is destroying their vitality. And that's what it is. So again, here's this principle again. Education page 104 now. The seed as in itself a germinating principle. A principle that God himself has implanted. Notice here, as human beings, we were made to live forever. All right?
Yeah.
We were made to live forever.
From the tree of life.
We were as well as we eat from the tree of life. But as you see, when it comes on to life, that there's a principle inside of us that we fight to live. Ever noticed that? I'm surprised.
I said questions, ask questions, use the mic.
Okay, great. So I'm surprised the amount of beat. You ever see I saw a person that was 700 pounds and is walking and talking. 700 pounds. Could be a few of us. They're walking around, and a few of us literally on one bike. You know what I'm saying? 700 pounds.
Are you sure they're walking?
Walking and talking.
Yes.
I'm just going to send you a video. I'll show you the video. But just remind me to show it for you.
Yes.
Walking and talking.
700 pounds.
600.
And there are people who are 400 pounds who can't walk.
Yes, and there's people who 400 pounds that can't walk.
Right, okay, thank you.
Yeah. You imagine that 700 pounds walking and talking. And you're like, and there's, as you said, people 200 some pounds can't walk. So the body is brilliant for the ability to survive because its ability to try to balance itself. But what happened, a person could be as I say, get the body out of whack and 10 years later they develop diabetes, high blood pressure. Don't even come over that. See, there's two types of disease. There's lifestyle disease and there's disease that you catch, like malaria. So most of the time we say disease, we forget that disease is a dis-ease. But a dis-ease could come from a mosquito, or a dis-ease could come from me with my fork. I have too much cake. And cake is normally sugar and fat. That's some flour. So lots of energy. Cake is lots of energy. So a person who is a lumberjack, as they say, could probably eat a whole bunch of cake and it probably take them 20 years to get sick. A person who is working on a desk, probably 5 years to get sick. Why? Because one person is just burning that energy. That's why most of the time you see athletes, a few years after they leave athletics, professional athletics, they get sick. Because they're not burning off all that junk, but they're still eating. So the body has the ability to maintain. Notice in the reading here, it says, yet, if left to itself, the seed would have no power to spring up. Man has his part to act in promoting the growth of the grain. But there is a point beyond which he can accomplish nothing. He must depend upon one who has connected the sowing and the reaping by wonderful links of his own omnipotent power. So notice here, there's something that I must do. There's something that God must do. And I must interact with nature and with God. But I can't just say, let's pray. And this is where most people are, they just want to pray. And that God must fix the problem. And God says, I'll do what you have your part. And if you don't do your part, I can't do my part. Because I've linked the whole process. You know what I'm saying? So there's a certain point where you realize that you got to get on your knees and pray. There's a certain point that you have to realize you got to drink water. And no, God can't force you to drink water. But guess what happened? You will suffer the consequences if you don't drink water. Is that true?
Yes.
And somebody say, oh, but I need to pray for a miracle. The miracle that we need to pray for is, put the brother on his hand and put your hand on him, bring the elders forward, put your hand on him, say, Lord, we pray a miracle that this brother start drinking water. Well, that's it. And that's the miracle. If he starts drinking water, it's a miracle. There is life in the seed. Amen?
Yes.
And this is powerful because every time I think about it, there's life. Remember, one of the main seeds, until they keep hybridizing, was wheat, right? Christ says, the staff of life, the bread of life. But now men are just playing games with these things. And they claim that the wheat in America is not genetically engineered, it's just hybridized. They keep hybridizing. Hybridized is more like they'll take, say they grow a field, and they find the ones that have the highest protein. They get rid of all the other ones, and they grow in the field with the high protein ones, find the ones with the highest protein in the fire, until they just find the ones that have high protein, until the protein is so high that it makes you sick. There is life in the seed, there is power in the soil, but unless infinite power is exercised day and night, the seed will yield no return. The shower of rain must refresh the thirsty field. The sun must impart warmth. Electricity must be conveyed to the buried seed. The life which the Creator has implanted, He alone can call forth. Every seed grows, every plant is developed by the power of God. Amen?
Amen.
God has to do this. So there is, we're not saying because of health we're removing God. We're just saying that there's a part that man has to do.
Yes.
But God has His part to do. You pray over the food, but don't pray over a plate of pig. Right? And then think so. If you can afford it, and please afford it. Spend your money wise, cut off your cable, or get some organic food in your body. You will feel the difference.
Don't eat something that you know is going to hurt your body and pray.
Right. Because it will be the same thing. If I know I have gluten intolerance, I don't know why I keep talking about gluten, but if I know I have, say, Brazil nut intolerance.
You know what I mean?
Brazil nut.
It's just an example.
It's just an example. I'm just saying if I'm almond nut, cashew, or peanut.
Cashew.
All right, peanuts are more famous, so it's a peanut intolerance. I don't need to pray over it. I just need to stop
Not
it.
eat it.
That's it. I just pray to God as I keep stopping.
You know what's said unto you.
And it's because it's not good to me.
Yeah.
Right, so I have to know. Some people, they are allergic to one specific food item.
Yeah.
And the whole church could eat that item, no problem. And they have that one thing, they have to pray to God, give me the self-control not to do this. Just stop it. And they stop it, everything's good. Yes.
I have a co-worker, well, she moved into another position, but she was allergic to peanut. And a person who eats peanuts could not eat peanuts at that depth. I don't know if it's a fume that comes off the
Yes.
peanuts
Oh,
when
It's
they
it's
eat it.
bacteria on the peanuts.
At that desk where she would have to, she comes in, you know, hours later, but they were saying you cannot, the person
That's an extreme
come
allergy.
before her on her shift,
Yeah.
they can't eat peanuts at that desk.
Yes.
Because there are things, I mean, there's nothing that is a solid. We see things as solid and being in one state.
Yes, that's a good point.
But
yeah.
everything has pieces. You can almost think of it as layers that float in the air.
Yeah.
So those things are the things that she is picking up on, that she's allergic to. Those things that you can't see of the peanut,
Yeah.
that is
Floating.
emanating from the peanut.
From somebody's mouth.
No.
From the actual
From the
peanut.
actual peanut. Last week, a little boy died.
Right.
He had
That's what I was saying.
severe fish
I was going to talk
allergy.
about that, yeah.
He went into his grandma's house, she was frying fish, that was
Right.
all. He didn't eat the fish.
Right.
Just in the air.
In the air.
Air, yeah.
There's another actress who, I don't think she's an actress, she's a famous person for what I don't know. But she had to have a plane turnaround because she was in first class and was serving fish. I had to turn the plane around and land the plane. Because she had a severe allergic reaction. She didn't have to eat the fish. She didn't have to be in the room
In the area.
where the fish is. I know people who can't touch the outside of the bag of frozen chicken. Just touching the outside, just getting a little touch of it, the system start locking up and stuff like that. Just not eating the chicken, just touching, not touching the chicken itself, just the bag where it was touching. Whatever chicken is the part of the bag that's frozen, that alone, just the touch of that will make the person have an anaphylactic shock. Yeah, so it is that. So that person now has like can't touch surfaces or stuff that has chicken on it, fish. It's always, most of our allergies are protein allergies.
Yeah.
So it's the protein that we're allergic to because the body has a problem breaking down the protein.
Yeah.
So it's not the carb in the wheat, it's the protein in the wheat. It's the gluten intolerance, it's the lactic intolerance, it's the but some allergies now could be chemical. You could be allergic to red number 4. If you eat it, or you start to have a
And yellow, 6
and yellow, a lot of people have those type of allergies. But most allergies is the protein, is the protein in the peat, not the peat, not the bean, but it's a bean, but the peanut. So the seed is word of God. As the earth brings forth her bud, and as the gardens cause it, the things that are sown in to spring forth, so the Lord will cause righteousness and praise to spring forth. As in the natural, so in the spiritual. So in the spiritual sowing. The power that alone can produce life is from God. So it's the same thing. We all need life and we all need that energy. But go ahead. It's from the book Education. AD is Education, page 104.
Thank you.
The body homeostatic control mechanism which maintain a constant internal environment to ensure that a balance between fluid gain and fluid loss is maintained. Hormone here, aldosterone plays a major role in this. If the body is becoming fluid deficient, there will be an increase in secretion of these hormones, causing fluid to retain in the kidney, urine output to be reduced. So a person will go to urinate, and the urinate is very yellow.
Right.
That tells you the body is not having enough fluid, the body needs to dilute that. But imagine a person now that don't drink water, when they urinate, it's just a little bit of drip coming out. But the body is not dehydrating, it's holding back the water. But their retention will hold back also uric acid.
If that had anything to do with the vessel, or you just saying the body itself? Because I was,
No, remember,
Well,
the
last
body is
question.
70% water. And all the cells have a certain percentage of water. So if you're not drinking enough water, these cells need to live. And because the body's trying to keep you alive.
Yeah.
So once it goes through the filters of the kidneys, the body is saying, but you know, cells back up here still need water. So what it says to the kidney, you can't let her urinate that out. You got to keep it back to send it back up in the blood. So the body through the kidney, which is the filter of the body, recirculates the water. But what Pastor Blood is saying, it also holds back some of the uric acid because the kidney needs some of that water in order to flush out the uric acid. So because it's flushing out less water, then it also means that
Right.
less uric
Uric
acid is going out.
So this is an example again in a different way, but a similar example. If there's too much carbon dioxide in the blood, it can cause the blood to become acidic. People respire heavily, not due to low oxygen content in the blood, but because they have too much carbon dioxide. So the person, right? But the problem is that it is the system is getting acidic because they're giving more. I need more fresh air.
Right.
But if you do that,
Yeah.
guess what happened? In order now for your body to get the oxygen and to release the carbon dioxide,
Okay.
what you have to do is basically get a full respiration. So this will work. But in order for you to get a full respiration, the next thing I'm reading here, the kidney performs a vital role in homeostatic regulation, the mama removing excess water, salt, uric acid from the blood. These are the body's main waste thing. So here's what happened though in respiration. Part of respiration you lose water because some of that carbon dioxide binds to water. But if the body's trying to hold back the water because you're not drinking water, the body's also going to hold back what? The carbon dioxide. Because the body is trying to preserve the water so you don't lose as much water through your breathing. Because remember, you're mainly going to lose water through your skin, your urine, and your mouth.
Yeah.
But if the body realizes, oh, you're not drinking, so the body's going to say, well, we're going to try to sweat less. But if you sweat less, what's going to happen? You're holding back toxins. If you urinate less, you're going to hold back uric acid, purine, and other wasteful toxins.
Right.
If you breathe, and you breathe sort of shallow, you're not getting enough carbon dioxide out, so your body's holding back fluid because your body has to release that in a fluid cell. So I shouldn't say fluid cell, but the lung is very, it's a sac that has fluid. But the body's trying to hold it back, so the transfer is not taking place for you to get out the carbon dioxide. So you could say, I'm going to breathe out this. Okay, that's better. But the problem is by doing that, what are you going to be losing a lot? Fluid. So the body's going to do everything to keep that dry and hold it back. So what's the solution to the problem to help the body maintain the homeostatic balance?
Give it a lot of food.
Drink water.
Drink the water.
Right, drink the water. And the more you drink water, is the more you'll be able to take deeper breaths, the more your body will be able to release the carbon dioxide.
So everything is surrounded by this water.
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 Our air
you
has
have a
water.
problem, the first thing you need to do is go drink water.
Yeah, water. A lot of diseases are caused by not drinking enough
Water. I remember.
And there used to be people that used to laugh at people that used to promote water. They used to laugh, but it's true. You have to.
You gotta drink water.
And
Yeah,
that's
there's so
why water
much
is
things.
such a big business now.
Every
Yes.
week they would go in the front and talk and tell us we need to drink water.
Amen.
will laugh.
Somebody used to do that?
No, there used to be someone that would every week tell us
You
we
can
need
tell
to
them.
drink water. We need to drink water, but it's true.
Yeah,
You know, it's,
So there's so much in the body process
you need to drink
can't be
water.
balanced. That depends on water because remember, you look at the earth, what we have a lot of.
Water. Money water.
The air is full of water.
Water.
Even the air is full of water. It's water. I'll do another one thing that we talk about water. Sleep. Timing depends upon the balance between homeostatic sleep propensities, the need for sleep as a function of the amount of time elapsed since the last adequate sleep episode, and the circadian rhythms, which determine the ideal timing of a correctly structured and restorative sleep. So you need a certain amount of time to sleep. So if you're not sleeping well, the body can't further function because the body's trying to do other things to make it sleep. I don't know after that, they had asked me about kidney, and I think I started explaining. So if now you don't have enough water, the kidney is going to get overwhelmed faster, and you could go tired faster, feel that pain right here faster. So if you're getting tired, you feel that pain, you have a few more hours to go. Well, you need to sleep, but you can't go to sleep. But the first thing you need to start doing is increasing water. So flush that kidney out. Because the kidney is being overwhelmed because it doesn't go for too long. That's where why it gets tired. And it needs to go through that rest so it can repair its cells and clean
So
itself
you're
up.
saying is the kidneys, hello? what I did.
Go ahead. If the kidneys, you're would rest.
Also, after the water or before, after the water, you have, because of the pain in the back, you have to lay down and rejuvenate that.
If you can.
Yeah, if you can understand.
Oh, okay,
Yeah, the aim is that the kidney say you need rest,
okay.
but you're gonna have to get some. If you're not, you can't go to sleep right away. Just try to flush it out.
Okay.
Right, because it's being overworked. Because it's breaking, because it's like, imagine your system needs time to reset and to clean up itself and to restore when you sleep. So the longer you take between two sleeps, the more the kidney is overwhelmed because it's not getting a reset. I don't know your body's overwhelmed. I think you feel it first in your kidney. That's all. Another principle here, 2 paragraphs here, I think. It says, by the law of nature. So I keep talking about this law because I want to show that all these things that we talk about health is just line up with natural laws. It's understand what the body does or what nature does and working with the nature. And you'll find that you'll be much healthier. As I say, whenever you think of sickness, think of imbalance, you're thinking, what am I doing wrong? That's sometimes the hardest thing to do. So that's very easy. Because there's so much knowledge out there. But sometimes it's very difficult to think, I'm not doing something wrong. I ever feel like I know I ate something, I know I did, what did I, you start to think back a day, 2, 3, and you figure it out. Because there's some principle is being broken. It's just sometimes that's the problem, is how to figure out what is being broken. And sometimes it's something over your head. But it's, a lot of times the information is there. I'm going to tell you real quickly that there's research they're doing right now where they're showing that when you're even damaged by some of these chemicals, the flora on your skin, it causes all kinds of skin diseases. You know, this flora. You have natural bacteria in your skin that protect the skin. When you use certain like antibacterial soap and stuff like that, that's what FDA call a recall for those soaps. Because when you poison the skin, those bacteria get damaged, then the nutrients it was given to protect the skin from the elements is now gone. So now the skin starts susceptible to diseases, skin diseases. So that's what it is. So that's why it's always important to know what you're putting at yourself. That's why there's a big move for all these natural products. Because all the chemical-based products, they're very carcinogenic or caustic. They burn. As a matter of fact, one thing I said recently I've learned about using is white vinegar instead of bleach. White vinegar will kill both bacteria, viruses, molds, and all that, but it will not damage the flora as dangerous as. I use it as a disinfectant.
Okay, so when you do use the vinegar, is it a combination with, do you combine that with something else?
I start using that, not as a practice with it, but I use it like, not for washing and stuff, but just like, if I say I have something, say I came this morning, I drank a smoothie, and I brought back home the smoothie bottle because some smoothies left over in it.
Right.
And it started to, bacteria started growing in it.
Okay.
And I'd say tomorrow, I start smelling that bacteria, I'll rinse it out,
Okay.
and I spray the white vinegar in
Okay.
it. A little bit of water to kill the bacteria before I wash it.
Okay.
You know, it's something that you could miss a crevice by accident. So I want to make sure everything is dead in it. But bleach now is more dangerous and doesn't kill viruses
Yeah,
as much as they used to. Another
that's-
viruses are mutating and not being killed by the bleach. But go ahead.
No, it's funny how you just mentioned the point is, a cleaner, I know you use vinegar, and I know it's another combination, to place bleach is a combination vinegar and something else.
Baking soda.
Yeah, I figured that would.
But you could also put vinegar in your laundry, in the rinse cycle.
For what, in your rinse cycle?
Yeah.
It doesn't smell like vinegar?
Gotta use
And
the
you can
mic,
create, you
Kenny.
can create a,
Gotta use the mic.
I think, yeah, you
Yeah, you can put vinegar in the rinse cycle of your wash, and it would kill like bacteria. And every now and again, you should actually let this vinegar run through your machine.
Oh, okay,
Put it in water
To
wash.
clean it out.
To clean it,
okay,
clean it out.
the white vinegar,
Mm-hmm.
okay. Not vinegar and baking soda together?
no, not together,
No, not
no.
together. You just put vinegar in the wash, in where the detergent should go, and vinegar where the fabric softener should go. And it will just clean that out. If you put that together, it will form a chemical reaction. You don't want that in the
And
water.
that will burn you.
Well, you could take a YouTube video. I think a video posted. And I'm going to read this now. It
Probably
says,
that was corrected, because I was like, oh, no, you can't do that together.
See, by the law of God in nature, effect follows cause effect follows cause with unvarying certainty. Effect follows cause. Normally, I think one of the famous guys, Einstein, I think he said, it's cause and effect. Right, but here she don't say it that way. She goes before it's that. Effect follows cause. See, this is the difference between what we believe and everybody is. We believe that most things in life are cause and effect. There's many things that we don't understand, but there's things that's very clear that God reveals as cause and effect. I do this, this will what will happen. So if I'm having an effect, the only way to fix it is I have to work on the what?
The cause. The cause.
Here, no pretense is tolerated. No pretense is tolerated. Men may deceive their fellow men and may receive praise and compensation for service which they have not rendered. Does that happen? But in nature, there can be no deception. You got that? That's powerful, right?
Yes, very.
If you see a whale and he has all kind of straws and chemicals and
Right.
styrofoam in his stomach,
Yes.
and he dies on the side of the beach, we could say, oh man, Jesus is coming because there's all these whales dying. And then you cut the stomach, and all the styrofoam drops out of the whale's stomach. Cause and effect. A person get up all day long shooting games, listen to crazy music, right? And then they go and shoot up someplace. Or they say, hey, nobody will date me. Because they think I'm a weirdo. That's cause and effect.
Yep.
Because I'm another person, I'm thinking, man, what's wrong with this person? But I never thought to myself, I don't see no woman marrying that person. You see, because if I'm afraid that he's going to torture her, tie her up, I start beating her and stuff like that.
Start shooting.
And is that wrong? It's cause and effect.
Yeah.
So it's the same thing with health, cause and effect. So I can fix the problem, most of my problems, simply because most diseases are lifestyle disease. 85% of all diseases are lifestyle disease. There's some diseases that are genetic diseases that we're born that way. You know, a person born blind, a person born with a weakness in the kidney, a weakness in the liver. There's something you can do, you have to be more careful. But there's things that people develop a weakness in the liver or kidney because of lifestyle disease. What they eat, how they sleep, how they behave well. On the unfaithful husbandman, the harvest passes sentence of condemnation. Sentence of condemnation. A person says, oh man, I should have done it. I knew better. Why did I do that? In the high sense, this is true also in the spiritual realm. It is in appearance, not in reality, that evil succeeds. You see that?
Yep.
You see how evil succeeds?
It
appears.
Yep.
Never really succeeds.
It never succeeds after multiple bankruptcies.
Go ahead, preacher. Preach. That's right. Yep.
But I could have passed that one up, so I'm going to pass it up. But I could keep going. It's an appearance.
Never really.
You see somebody driving on the road and they look successful and look like they're happy.
Go ahead.
But they live in a wicked life. Wicked life, but in appearance they make it seem, oh, I'm happy. But inside they're dying inside. The child who plays truant from school, the youth who is slothful in his studies, the clerk or apprentice who fails. Oh, I thought I heard him. The man in any business or profession who is untrue to his highest responsibility may flatter himself that so long as the wrong is concealed, he is gaining an advantage. But not so. He is cheating who?
Himself.
He's cheating who?
Himself.
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 The harvest of life is character. And it is this that determines destiny, both for this life and for the life to come.
Go ahead, preach.
You see that?
Break it down for the young ones.
Bring it for the young ones. The child is cheating
Remember,
himself.
I was going to tell you that my presentation is not normal language, but this one here, when I looked up homostasis, all I could hear was just gospel. Gospel, 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 gospel.
Go ahead.
Because you could say, oh no, I'm cheating. Oh, so I'm breaking up with the children?
Yes.
So You see, I guess the extremes is probably easier, but I'll pick an extreme. You see a person, you have ever seen people living on a bridge? Never seen a person living on a bridge?
Eli, listen. Josh.
Have you ever seen a person living on a bridge? You've never seen you come to New York City, you've never seen a person living on a bridge? Ever seen a person living on the side of the road? Ever seen a person living on the side of the road?
Homeless people?
Ever seen a homeless?
You ever seen a homeless person?
The guy's begging when we go drive by Walmart. Oh! It says, yeah, I'm not protecting them, they sin.
You shield them from the woes of life.
No! At Walmart, it's big sign, I am homeless. Begging for money.
Okay. One thing you learn in life, so one thing is important for you to. Or you going to say something? Go ahead, please.
Okay.
Oh, you said nothing. I thought you talked to
I
someone.
figured that one.
So it's important that you know that you understand the principle of cause and effect. Cause and effect. I won't stay long with you. I just want to quickly. You know cause and effect? What cause and effect is? Are you ever being punished for doing something wrong? That's cause and effect. You do something wrong, you get punishment. Have you ever done something wrong that your parents didn't see and it resulted in bad for you personally?
Joshua?
Eli, let me ask Eli, have you ever done something wrong where your parents weren't around, they didn't know you do it, but it ended up bad for you? Something went bad, but nobody knew, privately. You never done something wrong. So remember asking the question, it happened. You do something wrong, and see your parent a mouse trap, and the mouse trap went off, clip you in your hand. And you look around, nobody didn't see you, pull your hand down. Yeah, you keep telling me no, I don't know. Right? So, and you ever catch your hand. Okay, good. All right, it's coming. So, in life, there's cause and effect. There's results from the actions that we do. When we take wrong actions, we do it. Like, remember, I must say this to you as a principle. You have never seen a child that does not listen to their parents ever happy as an adult.
Go ahead, preacher. That's right.
The prison is filled of kids that never listen to their parents. They always have to be, parents have to beg them and plead for them, and they always to end up in prison. Their life is hard. People who don't listen and pay attention is always going to be miserable. You see a miserable adult, they were miserable as kids.
That's right.
That's cause and effect. Because why? Because they develop a personality that is rebellious, and that personality ends up becoming difficult for other people to deal with. So they lose friends, they lose loved ones, people don't want to deal with them because that's cause and effect. Because what she said here is that character, over there said, the harvest of life is character. What does it mean? You see a person that's angry, it's because they spend too much time practicing anger. So in the harvest they get is an angry personality. You get it? Because that's what they practice. You reap what you sow, the Bible says. Cause and effect. So it is a person that's cheating, right? When they cheat a lot, they think that they're cheating others. But what they develop is a criminal mindset, a cheating mindset. And who they're really cheating ultimately in the long term is themselves.
So those two lines, as young people, focus on the first two lines. It says, the child who plays truant from school.
That means that they don't go to school as they're supposed to.
And the youth who is slothful in his studies. And you just skip on all the rest and come right down and say, may flatter himself that so long as the wrong is concealed, he is gaining an advantage. But not so, he is cheating himself. So the child who has homework and hides it from the parents and says he doesn't have homework, may flatter himself so that as long as the wrong is concealed, he is gaining an advantage. But not so, he is cheating himself. The child who, when he is sent to read, tells you that he read a story that he read prior.
Preach! Come on!
That story may think he is flatter himself that so long as the wrong is concealed, he is gaining an advantage, but not so, he is cheating himself.
Oh,
don't take the beam out of your brother's eye when there's a mote in your own.
Well, and
you have something you were going to say?
Josh, you want to say something? Have you ever heard of somebody hiding homework?
No, what was he going to say before?
What
What
was
was
he
he
going
going
to
to
say?
say before?
What does misery mean?
Misery is I guess I can describe the experience of misery. Just imagine a person, it's cold outside like now, and a person lives outside, they haven't bathed in a while, they have no food, and they have no friends, and they're on their bridge, and they have to be begging for money, and they basically not working and not doing anything, and they have they have needs, but they can't fill it. They need to defecate or urinate, they have no bathroom to go to. That would be like reality, that's misery. The person's just sad and upset and just miserable in life because they have miserable experience. That's misery. But the person who often is under that bridge is there because they were truant in school, they didn't listen to nobody, and they end up getting some sort of problems to do with substance and other problems. I know they're on the street, they have mental health problems. But it didn't start there. It started there when they were children and lying to their parents, lying to their teachers, don't listen to people. I dealt in like,
following class rules.
I might say this even for the adults, that I remember when I was younger and I was in my early 20s, and I would deal with some of these kids that they were forward. They would be up in your face.
Yeah.
And after giving them about in their teens, by the time they reached in their 20s, their life was all a mess.
Yep.
Going to rehab, all that kind of mess. Yep. I always just remember this girl that I'm teaching a youth class, and this girl was visiting at the church, and I'm teaching the youth class, and I'm talking to the kids, explaining what the youth lesson was all about. And one time I look up, and this girl looking in my face, she's a teenager, early teens, and just giving me this look in her face. Look at me, and I'm looking around thinking, I can't believe it.
Got attitude.
Staring me down.
Yep, attitude. Attitude.
Not the attitude of want to take me on in that way.
Yeah.
She want to take me on another way. Right?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Oh.
And I was like, and the table was full, but she just staring me down. And I'm like, this is a teenager, why she staring me down like that? And a few years later, that girl, pure problem, gone to rehab, pregnant, this, that. And I always remember that day this girl was, I was thinking, what is picnic? That's how I think that.
Picnic!
Come staring me down.
That's right.
Like staring me down. I was like, I couldn't believe that. I was taken aback because it was, like she was staring me down, we were one-to-one. The table was full.
Yep.
And she wasn't hiding it. She wanted to take me on. Right? So it's important. So you see that, and then how many years later,
the result,
and I said that girl didn't like that from the young.
Yeah.
That was because what she says here, that a harvest of life is character.
Right.
And she didn't build that within the home. It wasn't in the home.
Sorry?
The character that she had wasn't built up in the home.
I don't know.
Well, I mean, even
I know our parents, but I don't know. I don't know them like that, so I don't know what was going on.
When you're looking at the harvest, remember what you sow is what you reap.
Right.
And you sow negative and bad things, eventually, you may hide it for some time, but you will reap. And that's why it says the harvest. You're going to harvest. People expect you plant negative seeds,
Right.
and you plant destruction, and you plant collusion, and you expect to reap,
positive.
reap positive things.
It's not going to work. And so
it comes out.
that's it. So homeostasis is just simply about, let's say, as we go forward from month to month, we're going to try to, when we talk about healing, a lot of what we're trying to talk about is really balance in the system. And the body has the ability to do it. And the body don't have it, you will reroute. They have shown an experiment where they operate on one area of the brain of a child. So the brain has the motor skill to be able to play piano. And another part of the brain of the child take over and the child is able to control the finger and play piano. The body will try its best to live. Now, sometimes it will end up in death. Like cancer, diabetes, all these things can kill a person. But it's not the intention. God didn't make the body to die, God made the body to live. And as long as we understand that, we can overcome diseases. Now, I'm not saying that, because I've had some situation like a person called one time and say, this is set up, this is what's going to happen. And I told the person will die. Send them to hospital. Because the negative feedback could become so out of whack that unless you pray and an anointing and the Lord raise that person from the dead, the person will die. Because you can make it go too far. This is where amputations for diabetic people comes. This is where coronary artery problems, run around, root around throughout the city where you have to go into the main arterium, suck out all that fat because there's too much fat. The person, and that could help, but right now the person is in an emergency, and they start dieting it. It's just, you gotta go on the night. You gotta make the doctor go in and pull that stuff out, and then they start dieting exercise after that. But there's gonna be some damage. So we don't want to get to that stage, but sometimes that stage is the reality, because the negative feedback and the positive feedback has been going on for too long, and there's no remedy. So basically the body always trying to balance, and we just working with the body. We're not trying to per se heal, but that's healing. We're just trying to help the body along, and herbs play a role, this play a role, but ultimately the 8 natural laws will come in the future. All those things become just your basic element for health. I just want to show that homeostasis is not just in the body, but it's in our social dealings, it's in the spiritual. If you live a life of sin and immorality and expect, as they say, to sow wild oats, that's what they call it. You plant evil, and then when people feedback a certain way, say, why people react that way to me? Because you're acting bad. It's negative feedback. I get angry at people and they get angry at me. What I expect. When you smile, you ever smile at somebody and he's at a shock and you just smile back. Right? That's a positive feedback. Right? Is that true? It's positive feedback. Some people, and I closed off with the young people. You want certain behavior? This is what I tell young people. You want to not always be monitored by your parents. You know how you avoid being monitored by your parents? When you are alone, you don't do things that your parents would get upset with. Yeah. And so you understand what I just said here? So when you do that, what will happen? Your parents say, oh, you can be left alone. Right. Right? And they give you a positive feedback. But if you give a negative feedback, then they give you a negative feedback. You say, why give me a negative feedback? Because you gave a negative feedback. Yeah. A real world example, you're alone, and your parent says, don't go under the tablet. Right? Don't go under the tablet. But that's a common one. It's a common one. So a lot of kids go through this. I'm going to read it out. So the parent says, don't go on the tablet until 8 o'clock. Right? And you go on the tablet, you're left alone from 6 o'clock to 8 o'clock, you went to your tablet, but you didn't do your schoolwork. So the next day the parent says, you can't get a tablet for the rest of the week. You give a negative feedback, they give you a negative feedback. So if you want a positive feedback, what you do, you say, okay, I don't want to lose the tablet altogether, so I'll go on the tablet when I'm told to go on the tablet. And by that way, the person, oh, I'm giving you a positive feedback. I don't want to give you a positive feedback. I might give you all Sunday to be on the tablet. That's homeostasis. You create a balance. And when something's out of balance, you're miserable and they're miserable. And everybody's miserable. And we don't want everybody to be miserable. So it's time to close. I turn over to Pastor Whitman to close. So thanks. So I just say the second Sabbath in February, by God's grace, we'll be doing another health presentation where now next time a little bit more straight health, where I'll just going to deal with one disease at a time going through the rest of the year and how to be able to get back into this type of balance. God bless you.
And Pastor Rob, Proverbs 26:2 says, the curse causeless shall not come. Causeless that.
All right.
Yeah. Amen. Amen. Somebody say amen again.
Amen.
Amen for the real life. We had a real life emergency this morning. But thank God we had some real life solutions this afternoon. Amen. 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 Phenomenal when it comes to health and maintaining homeostasis, and we learned so much on how we can live a balanced life. And as we've gone through the change and it's better to develop good habits now and follow them throughout life. And can I get a witness? A lot of times when I was a super athlete playing a lot of sports, I ate a lot of stuff. I ate things that I wasn't supposed to. And then you stop and you get older and you have a sedentary life, and all of a sudden it's 5, 10, 15, 20, and it's, yeah, thank you. You don't have to keep counting. We know you can count by fives, but at some point you have to stop it and say, you know what? And that's one thing I've learned. It's never too late to reverse the process or deal with it before it becomes something that's catastrophic. Amen. So we thank Pastor Grubb for that wonderful presentation. Wonderful presentation. We want to say God bless you. And those at home enjoying it, we encourage you to start living the life by simply acknowledging that we all are sinners and we've all made mistakes. But God, if we allow the Holy Spirit in our lives, can make not only today a new day and new start, but so that then tomorrow we can change and go forward. At this moment, I'm going to ask everyone to stand with me as we together, every head bowed, every eye closed, and we'll ask that may the Lord watch between me and thee while we're absent one from another. Father, we ask in a special way that all individuals listening online and in the congregation remember that you are our Alpha, our Omega, the beginning and the end. Thank you. Thank you. In Jesus' name, amen. Amen. God bless you. We'll see you next week. Have a wonderful week. Looking forward to seeing you next Sabbath where we'll have communion right here. God bless you. Have a wonderful day. Amen.